There's no better feeling than being in the stands when you're at Formula One, the vibe, the energy, when everyone's so excited.
I really wanted this kind of passion. When I moved into motorsports, it was like instantly in the beginning. Once I just started racing, I felt that passion worldwide.
Hey, welcome back to She Leads the Way. I'm Nikki Bedford, and today's guest we have Amna Qubaisi. She's the first female Emirati driver. She's raced in multiple championships since she was only 14, and she's currently racing in the Formula One Academy, which is the female-only race championship by Formula One. Amna, welcome to She Leads the Way.
Thank you for having me.
So, you're currently driving with the Visa Cash app for the Formula One Academy. We saw just over a week ago you were racing in Barcelona, which you seem to be a little disappointed about the race. How are you feeling now? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, you forget and move on. So it wasn't the best race weekend, but for sure there's a lot of good things to take out from it. So hope there's 4 more race weekends to go, so I'm looking forward to those race weekends.
Yeah, fantastic. When is the next race?
In Zandvoort, end of August.
And you excited?
Yeah, it's our team's home race.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
So it must be better to go to a race or a place like that after something that, after Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean, Barcelona was a big disappointment. I mean, the first race, it wasn't my fault. I couldn't do anything about it. Second race, I really tried, but it was the best I could do.
Do you think that, because I completely agree, these things happen all the time, but you are in such a heightened space of, and we'll talk about this a little bit later as well in terms of the pressure and the mental toughness. But given that this has just happened, how do you get yourself out of that place where you are I guess you're probably feeling really disappointed, but you know you have to keep going?
Yeah, I mean, it took me like a week to get over it.
Yeah.
It took me a really long time, so I had to go through, I had online therapy.
Good on you. Yeah,
sports
great.
therapy, yeah. So I went through that through a Zoom meeting, and I really my therapist told me, if it's not from your side, that through the race weekend, it's not really your fault, then, there's a lot to take from it. Because, I mean, with the championship, it's kind of hard. I mean, I have a really weak engine, so it's really hard to be able to compete how I was last year.
Yeah, of course.
So I know it's not in my hands, and I can't really do much with it, but I can still push and be, confident that I am still good, and it's just not me.
Amazing. Well, that's the perfect attitude to have. But before we go into more of that, I'd like to just step back in time, because you've come from a family that, I mean, your dad is also a sportsman in his own right. I think he's one of the first, or was the first Emirati to have raced the Le Mans. And, coming from a family with brothers, you and your sister are both sportswomen racers. When was it that you realised that you were like, wait a second, I really love this sport?
Yeah, I mean, when I was 13, 12, 11, I was doing gymnastics from quite a young age, and my father started to compete in motorsports in 2009, and I would always go to his race weekends, whether it's in Le Mans, that was the real race weekend where I felt the fans were involved. There was more to motorsports. So that's when I realized, whoa, this is crazy. I want to be a part of this world, you know. In gymnastics, you compete once a year, and there's not much fans involved. In motorsport, you see, everyone interacting with the drivers, asking for pictures, signature, their names are known worldwide. So that's when I was, at 14, I told my dad, listen, I really want to take part in this sport.
And was he like, what?
He was shocked, but in a good way. My sons are not asking me to start racing, but I have my daughter asking, and he was concerned with the DNA, something's going on. But no, he was really happy that I actually asked to take part in his world, and it was a really good start. He was coaching me at first in rental karting, and then from there I was selected in an academy. It was called Le Mans Speed Academy. And from there, they built me.
That's incredible. That's really incredible. Not only that, it's one thing having your dad as your biggest supporter, but the fact that he's also sort of walked those footsteps as well means that he could be an even better coach in some instances as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So tell me, when you first started, it was karting. So when you decided, actually, Dad, this is something that I'd like to do as well, coming from gymnastics where you thought, actually, the vibe there's no better feeling than being in the stands when you're at Formula One, the vibe, the energy, everyone's so excited. But then beyond that, the sound of the cars coming through, was that also something that played a part for you?
Yeah, it was the whole energy. I mean, especially like the teams, I see how they are outside of, the track. They're still talking about racing. They're still talking about the tracks they've been to, the drivers they've met or worked with. So it's still like an ongoing passion. So I really wanted this kind of passion when I played a sport.
Yes.
And I've done gymnastics, I tried tennis, and I really never found that passion. But then when I moved into motorsports, it was like instantly in the beginning. Once I just started racing, I felt that passion worldwide.
And your sister as well. You are a family of athletes, basically. Can you tell me, how is it racing with her? Because I have a sister as well, and I know that if I was racing with her, I would be like, I am going to beat her, but also I would want her to be doing really well.
Yeah.
So is it also a healthy balance for you where you're like, I'm gonna get you, but also like, I love you?
Yeah. I mean, having a sister, it's nice because it grows our bond stronger.
Yes.
So we have something to talk about. We're sometimes fighting. Sometimes we do argue. We do have, certain opinions on you push me, you push me. So, last year when we both competed in F1 Academy as teammates, we really worked as teammates. So when she was trying to fight for the lead for the championship, I would let her overtake and, get points.
That would be so hard. That would be so hard.
I know, yeah. But it was like team orders. You know how in F1 there's team orders? So it was the same with us. My engineer's like, you have to let Hamda pass. I'm like, oh, fine. So, I mean, and now this year, we're helping each other more because due to our engines, it's not to the prestige amongst our competitors, so we really try to help each other with slipstream. So she gives me slipstream, I give her slipstream to try to gain that extra tenths in qualifying. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And does she feel the same? Do you ever talk about it? Like, can you believe we're both doing this?
Yeah, we actually did. We were like, every time we just sit down in silence, we're like, this is so surreal. We're like traveling together, staying in hotels together, competing in the same race weekend together. So having to share that with my sister, I think it's like 1 in a million. And you don't really see like sisters competing, in a really high prestigious championship. You would usually see brothers.
Yes.
So it's nice to see that.
But you're not only sisters, you are a trailblazer. You are the first female Emirati racer. So you're doing something from absolute scratch and you're like, come on, sis, let's do it together. Like, that's really phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't like motorsport when she first joined, which was really surprising.
Really?
Yeah. She just wanted to do it to like be a part of my world.
Yes.
She wanted like little sisters. They always to follow their elder sisters. So, and then she actually really enjoyed it and she became, she became the first female in history to get a podium in Italian F4.
Amazing.
So we both made history and we both had our names, in the books.
Yeah, amazing. Because after karting, you went Formula 3, then Formula 4.
Formula 4, Formula 3.
Sorry, Formula 4, Formula 3.
Yeah.
How have you found the transition through these different championships?
Single-seaters is a whole different level. I mean, compared to karting, it's something it's a different world. It's like night and day. Like in Formula 4, everything seems more slower in a way. In karting, everything is really fast. So in F4, it was like a surreal experience for me. And it's a big car, a heavy car. And it's like trying to adapt was challenging. But I enjoyed it. And physically, it was also much more tougher because we don't have power steer. So a lot of our physical effort comes from our shoulders and necks. So,
is it? Of course, the neck. That's a really big one. So do you do specific exercises for your neck to keep it strong?
Yeah, we have a neck brace training. So it's meant for the neck for racing drivers. And we have one that has like 5 kg and I think it was like 4 kg, 3 kg. Yeah, and then you put it together. It's like 6 kg.
Because when you first stepped in, I mean, do you think that someone that had claustrophobia wouldn't be able to be a race driver? Because you are genuinely, there is limited space when you're in there. But not only that, anything that comes also above your head to a degree, like you're trapped in, right?
Yeah.
For good reason, it's safer that way.
Yeah.
But when you first sort of sat in, were you like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is very overwhelming?
Yeah, you get in, it's like strapped in really tight and everything. You have like limited space for your arms and stuff. Yeah, but I got used to it.
Yeah,
In the
of
beginning,
course.
I was like, oh my God, I want to move. I can't like be stuck in,
Yeah.
but then I got used to it.
I heard as well that, because I think it might have been something that you were speaking about on another occasion, but in terms of the weight. So I know that people would think that if you're lighter, you would have an advantage. But is it true that all of the cars need to weigh the same?
Yeah, all the cars are weighed the same, so we have ballast in the cars. So I'm the lightest in the grid.
But not really, because
Yeah.
you have to have all of this extra weight.
Yeah, so yeah, you have all of the
Crazy.
extra weight on the car, and they all get weighed, and the driver gets weighed after a race. So yeah, I mean, 1 kg makes a huge difference if you're underweight. So yeah, you have to have all the same weight, so it's like all equal.
And do you feel it in the car?
Yeah, you do feel it because when you have more ballast, the
Yeah.
car is heavier to handle. So now they're making, like, we have to gain weight, we have to eat a lot, gain muscle mass, and
Yeah.
try to, you know, make the car lighter for us.
Yes.
So yeah, that's one challenging factor. But I mean, I think every woman is capable of, you know, reaching a man's level. It's just we need to put in double the effort.
Yes.
So I know one racing driver, Jamie Chadwick, she's racing in Indy next.
Okay.
And the car is like a Formula 2 car. It's physically demanding, and she won a race against a whole grid of men. So it's
Good on her.
possible.
Yeah, it absolutely is
Yeah.
possible. I think that that's also a good segue into, I guess, the fitness that is required in the training program. The benefit is you need to make sure that you're eating, you need to make sure that you're, you know, keeping fit. But what does that look like for you?
So for me, because I'm underweight, I'm actually encouraged to eat anything and a lot of things. I mean, not fried food, of course, but
Yes.
like anything for me to gain muscle mass, protein, carbs, bread, rice, a lot of, you know, so I could gain weight.
So have you never been a big eater?
When I was young, yes.
Yeah.
But then as I grew, I started to have a really fast metabolism.
Yeah.
So I break down food really fast. And
Wow.
I really need to eat a lot just so I could be able to gain weight.
Oh, what a dream. So what do you have for breakfast? Are you a breakfast eater or no?
Sometimes it really depends on my mood.
Yes.
Like if I'm up early and I feel really happy, I would go for pancakes
Yeah, nice.
or crepe with Nutella or something.
That sounds like something I would love to have, but you sound like the person that could forget about eating as you move through the day. Yeah, we don't have that in common at all. I'm like, when is my next meal?
I wish I could have that.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. As long as your body and your mind is healthy, though, I feel like that's the most important thing.
True, yeah.
So in terms of your food, obviously you need to eat as much as possible. But with the training, it's quite specialized, isn't it? You were talking about having to make sure that your neck is strong and your shoulders. So are you focusing more on upper body than anything else? Or what does your training program look like?
Yeah, we do focus on upper body more because of, you know, the whole power steer, especially when the track grips up, it becomes more physically demanding and challenging. So yeah, we do focus on upper body, but also lower body with the brakes, because we need to hit like 100 bars and try to be able to get the car stopping, because you gain so much time just by being able to stop the car in like a short amount of time. So we do work the legs, but it's not really a priority. It's mainly the upper body.
Yeah, cool. And so that's, I guess, nutrition, then that's fitness. But what about your mental strength? How important is that?
I think it's really important because now, like with the motorsport involving media, and you know, if you have a really bad weekend, it's really hard to come back or bounce back from it.
Yeah.
So nowadays they take mental strength really serious in motorsports. So any person who starts from the back of the grid is still fighting to, you know, the podium. So I think mental strength is really important as much as physical strength, and I truly do focus on it more this year than I did last year.
Yeah, it's so important because the power of mindset is huge, but combining that with being an athlete and trying to keep ahead of the game, knowing that it's ongoing. So sometimes when things happen, you need to get on top of it because you've got a race that's coming up in the next couple of days. How do you bring yourself out of times where things just aren't going your way and you know that this is for a learn. But sometimes, like I know I'm not an athlete, so I'm definitely not putting myself in your shoes. But sometimes you just sort of think something's happened and you're not happy about it, and you're trying to make yourself feel, but you know that everything's going to be okay, but you're still just sitting with that feeling of, oh, this is just so annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that since the start of the championship.
Yes.
Nothing was really going my way. Like in free practice, I would be 8th, 7th, 6th, and then in qualifying, I'm P14, P13.
Yeah.
So I get really upset. So for me, I mean, to bounce back, I'm like, I am fast. I am capable of being up there. It's just a matter of, something's not going my way. It's just, you have to truly just accept it. You can't really change it. You can't control it.
Yes.
So you just accept it and, try to move forward, move on to better things, take the good, not just the bad things, take also the good things from it. So for me in the race weekend, I'm like, well, at least I found, a setup that I didn't like.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, because I saw your post on Instagram and you can't help but feel like you're there experiencing it with you. All of the commentary was everyone backing you and getting behind you. How much of an impact does social media make when you know that there are these, especially the whole of the UAE, as well as people globally, though, are looking at you thinking, oh my gosh, go girl. Does that bear much of a difference for you when you're out there?
I mean, of course, like the support really helps me, it helps me bounce back faster. But at the same time, you're like, I really let people down. You feel like I could have done better and I could have made them prouder or something like that. But it really does help in terms of bouncing back stronger and better and trying to focus on being a better person and a better athlete in the upcoming future. So for me, like when it comes to Zandvoort in August, end of August, I'm like, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to train really hard. I'm going to do some sim. Like I'm going to put more effort just to be able to at least qualify better and, make everyone proud.
Yeah, and we all are. We are so proud. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
So I guess let's move on to balance now. And it's interesting because I think that your answer will be slightly different given that your whole family is somewhat integrated within the sports industry. How do you find balance and being able to see friends when you need to train and make sure that you're in your game? Like, do you see it as a balance or just a way of life?
I mean, for me, you can always make time. Like the same thing when it comes to university. It was really hard to juggle university, family, racing. So now with the championship, we have like 2 months break, a month break. So it's more, we have a wide range of weekends and time. So it's good for me, I could have like some downtime where I can spend it with friends and family. And then when I'm in the gym or training, in between my training and gym, I could see my friends for a short while. They come over.
Nice.
And the weekends when I have a day off, I can, see them. So there's always time to see people.
So you could genuinely just do whatever you liked in those 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's nice. See, I feel like that's balance then because you just know that you're in control. This is the definition of being in a male-dominant environment. How have you found it and how have you found that it's changed since you started in 2014 as a woman?
So in karting, I never realized it was like male-dominated. I was just enjoying racing.
That's so nice.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way. But when I moved into single-seaters, that's when I realized, it really is a male-dominated sport. I mean, I'm the only girl in the championship amongst 40 guys. So that's when I realized it's really male dominated. Even the teams, like when I was in the team, all mechanics, all engineers, they're all men. So there was not like a single woman I would, relate to or talk to. So nowadays, actually, I see more women involved, whether it's her being a mechanic or her being an engineer. In my team, we have a female engineer, and I'm like, wow, now it's like slowly evolving, becoming better. Women are more involved, especially now, like in the championships. There are more women also competing. So now you will see like 4 girls or 3 girls competing in one championship.
Yeah.
And I really hope like now it's not like, our girl is competing in this series. Like we don't want it to be something that's, oh my God, we want it to be normal now.
What is your most favorite memory where you're like, oh, that was so good. I'm so proud of myself. That was just the most happiest moment.
Yeah, it would be in Red Bull Ring.
Yes.
Last year in F1 Academy. So I came into the championship. Everyone underestimated me. Everyone was like, she's really slow. She's not, dominant in racing. She should look at finding other sports to play. And in Red Bull Ring, that was when like everyone was shocked. Everyone was surprised with my performance. I had the fastest lap. I won one race, and then I shared a podium with my sister all in one day.
That's so crazy.
So yeah, it was like the best moment ever for me.
And were you just pinching yourself and then thinking, this is amazing? Oh my gosh, my sister's here too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we both parked in, the Parc Fermé for the podium, and we both like hugged each other. Like we didn't care about anyone else. We both hugged each other, and we're like, oh my God, we're here together.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we really, really wanted to repeat it one day.
Yeah, what a beautiful story. I have no doubt that you will. So tell me now a time that it was incredibly challenging and you thought, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I want to do this sport anymore.
I mean, yeah, there are multiple times like the start of this year, it's not in my hands. I can't really do much about it with my engine.
Yes.
So I'm like, what's the point of racing and, continuing to drive and just looking bad when it's not really my fault?
Yeah, of course.
But at the end of the day, I'm like, no, it's fine. I can have a really bad engine, but at the end of the day, I can still be faster than the ones who have a better engine than I do.
Yeah.
So I want to prove myself to everyone. Like, even if I have a really horrible car or whatever, I can still prove myself that I'm good enough to be up there.
Well, first of all, you don't have to prove yourself. You have proven yourself, but we are so incredibly proud. So whatever you do, we're just going to be clapping on the sidelines. Have no doubt about that. I'd like to ask this is, if you weren't in motorsport, because you've been doing it, since you were 14, started in 2014, what would you be doing if you weren't a racer?
Honestly, I actually thought about it, and I was like, I'd either, be somewhere related in sports, like maybe as a hobby, like do something as a hobby, or I would, continue having, my studies. I would study in Oxford or somewhere in the UK or in the US. And
what would you study?
Business marketing.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And, I really want to be an entrepreneur. Like even now with racing, like I invest, I look at things, I try to enter the stock market, I like to do a side hustle. So I really like to keep myself, doing things like, I would say productive.
Yeah.
So productive things. My father is an entrepreneur, so I look up to him, and it's like, I think it's in the blood. I start going, I'm like, I want to start investing in this. I want to start going to real estate. So
yeah, well, I'm sure whatever is meant for you will find you. So the last question before we move into our fun questions, not that these weren't fun, of course, but looking ahead, what is the future for you now? What are you most excited about?
I mean, for me, what I'm excited about is not knowing what's prepared or planned.
Yes.
I mean, I like things that happen spontaneously, like, like a surprise.
Yes.
Even though I'm not a big person with surprises, but I'm not really the one to see like, I have everything planned. I like to know what's going to happen, like in a short period of time, like, we have this ready for you, if you want to start doing this. It's like motivational, like, I am going, if it's planned, it's like, I'll relax, I'll take everything easy, I don't have to prove myself. So I really like when things are just, in the unknown,
just hit you in the face and you have to do it right now.
So
I love that. Okay, are you ready for Would You Rather Motorsport Edition? Okay, so I've got like a couple of questions here. Wait, which one am I going to start with? So, would you rather have the fastest car on the straights or the best car on the corner?
Fastest car in the straights.
Fastest car on the straights. You're very quick with that one.
Yeah.
Is there more straights than corners?
Yes.
Oh, there is.
That's why.
Actually,
that's why.
Would you prefer the best pit crew or the most reliable car?
The best pit crew.
Best pit crew.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes more of a difference having a...
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Having a support. If you have the best pit crew, then you'll have the best car
Wow.
eventually.
Yeah, that's nice. But the support, I mean, it's just so mental, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Would you prefer to race on a classic circuit like Monaco or new state-of-the-art track like Yas Marina, which is essentially your local track, but which would you prefer to race on?
I do like modern tracks, so state-of-the-art tracks, because, you know, it's new corners, everything is more fast. Because now with new tracks being made, they're trying to make it more fast and overtaking opportunities.
Okay.
So in Monaco, it's like you're really stuck behind someone and you're going to have to figure out how to overtake. And sometimes it gets boring because you're really just stuck behind them. So I like overtaking opportunities. It makes it more exciting.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Would you rather have a pit stop crew that does interpretive dance while changing tyres, or listen to Baby Shark on repeat throughout the race?
Listen to Baby Shark. I would rather have that.
Yeah. So you would rather listen to that song?
Yeah.
That you know the song, right?
Yeah,
It is very irritating. So are you saying that because watching people dance in front of you while you're waiting for the tyres?
So awkward.
Yeah. Awkward. Would you rather have a long career with consistent podium finishes, or a shorter career with a few spectacular wins?
I would say a shorter career with a few spectacular wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then lastly, this is a bit of a silly one, but would you rather have your car's horn sound like a quacking duck or your engine sound like a meowing cat?
The quack. That's more nicer. I can't with a meowing. I will stop.
Oh my gosh, Amna, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are so incredibly proud of you, and just good luck for the rest of the championship.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, bye.